Greetings. I'm Michael Quinn Patton, coming to you with another edition of Pandemic Evaluation Comfort Music, or what has morphed into a weekly musical blog, unintended and unplanned, but speaking this week to and singing this week about equity and justice. So before getting to the music, let me provide a bit of context and then the song. The coronavirus continues, the pandemic spread worldwide, but this week, in addition to all the tragedy of people dying from the coronavirus, over 100,000 Americans have died, over 350,000 people worldwide have died, more than 5 million infected worldwide. In Minneapolis, where I'm based, an innocent, unarmed man, George Floyd, African American, was murdered by a white police officer on the street, the officer's knee in his neck, with him pleading, "I can't breathe." That led to demonstrations and protests that turned violent, became riots not only in Minneapolis and St. Paul, but around the world. And they spotlighted, yet again, as if we needed more spotlighting, on the health disparities and the structural racism, systematic racism in the United States and other parts of the world. African Americans are infected by the coronavirus and die from it at twice the rates of whites. The coronavirus is spreading in Indian country among Native Americans at very high rates. And the job losses that have come from the virus, the unemployment, the poverty and hunger is twice as bad in communities of color than it is in white communities. And so this horrific pandemic is also a pandemic of injustice. And it takes me back, as an old white guy, to the 1960s. Now, I know you young folks are tired of hearing about the 1960s, and I'm not going to be nostalgic about that time. Rather, I want to highlight, on a more positive note, part of what has impressed me about the difference in our time. In watching the news coverage of people honoring George Floyd and the anger and fear and suspicion and distrust, but also the hope, the commitment to make change, to rebuild communities, I've been impressed by the large number of African American mayors, African American female mayors, Black sheriffs, Black reporters, Black professors and commentators, Black police chiefs, powerful young voices, organizing, Black people of color, organizing and committing to bring about change. None of that would you have seen as a part of covering the protests of the 1960s. And it's a stark, and I think, hopefully, a positive change going forward. Equity is a central issue in the Sustainable Development Goals, peace, justice, and strong institutions to support that infrastructure. It's a commitment of evaluation. The Equitable Evaluation Initiative is working worldwide to increase evaluation's attention to equity as a part of visionary evaluation for a sustainable and equitable future. It is said that it's darkest before dawn. It's also said that it's darkest before pitch black. And so I've selected music this week that is reflective music, a song of questions about the present and about the future. And those of old timers from the 60s, my colleagues, will remember the music of Fiddler on the Roof, a 60s musical with Broadway now closed, with London Theatre now closed. This is a return for a bit to Broadway. In Fiddler on the Roof, the opportunity to think about and sing along. I'm going to go through it once on my own, and then I've heard from several of you that you appreciate and enjoy the opportunity to sing along, and so I'll provide the lyrics in the second go-round for those of you who want to stay on and sing along. And as we sing to Fiddler on the Roof, or what I'm calling Evaluator on the Roof, I invite you to contemplate this question from the Equitable Evaluation Initiative. What might be possible if evaluation was conceptualized, implemented, and utilized in a manner that promotes equity? And so here is Evaluator on the Roof to the tune of Sunrise, Sunset. The evaluator on the roof looking out both at what's nearby and at the horizon. It goes like this. Born in a project world so hopeful, measuring goal attainment true, summative judgments rendered deftly, simple causality too. When did that simple world get messy? When did complexity appear? Wasn't it yesterday when truth seemed near? Inputs, outputs, outcomes, impacts, the logic did amaze. Models predicted how the world worked, faltering with a closer gaze. Inputs, outputs, outcomes, impacts, the logic did amaze. Models predicted how the world worked, faltering with a closer gaze. Complexities beyond controlling, climate emergency yet looms, pandemic's peak still inconclusive, justice for all still elusive. Evaluation transformation, business as usual no more. Can we together make a difference? Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flies each year, one finding leading to another, laden with lessons will they hear. Born in a project world so hopeful, measuring goal attainment true. Summative judgments rendered deftly, simple causality too. When did that simple world get messy? When did complexity appear? Wasn't it yesterday when truth seemed near? Inputs, outputs, outcomes, impacts, the logic did amaze. Models predicted how the world worked, faltering with a closer gaze. Inputs, outputs, outcomes, impacts, the logic did amaze. Models predicted how the world worked, faltering with a closer gaze. Complexities beyond controlling, climate emergency yet looms. Pandemic peace still inconclusive, justice for all still elusive. Evaluation, transformation, business as usual no more. Can we together make a difference? Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flies each year. One finding following